Welcome back, everybody. So I've got the amazing Chris Collins for part 2, learning all about his fragrance journey, his tips. Make sure you guys check him out, follow him, check out his site, everything.
Yes.
Tell us about your retail journey, because like for me, I was very lucky that we were already selling Huda Beauty with all the retailers, so like getting in was not so hard.
Yeah.
The pressure was hard to keep them interested
Right.
because the bar was so high, but getting in wasn't so hard. So how did you start? Because I think as an indie fragrance brand, it's really hard to get people to trust in you. It's not like selling a lipstick, it's like selling something you can't see.
You have to be noticed, right? You have to do something or start something that's either unique or that's never been done before. And if it's been done before, you have to put your own spin on it. So it's different. When I first launched, I started online. And again, that goes back to my first point, chriscollins.com.
Check it out.
Check it out. You just have to start. And I still get excited by every purchase that I get now. This is the same way I get excited about the first purchase that came through when I launched my website. But the retail journey is a little different. That's a whole other animal that you need to learn how to do that. But I would just literally walk into department stores and say, is the buyer here? Because I like to introduce them to my brand. And
wow, that takes a lot of guts.
it takes a lot of guts because you got to be a little crazy.
Gotta be
a little
crazy.
bit. I mean, you don't want to go in there like causing a scene. But I politely walked in and said, I went to my first store was Bergdorf Goodman. And I walked in and I said, excuse me, can I speak to the buyer? I was dressed nice, so everybody was they were relaxed and, you know. So I said, I would like to introduce the buyer to my brand. And they said, well, we'll connect you and we'll see what happens.
Did they call you back?
They called me back.
That's amazing.
They called me back. But I literally walked into stores and said, I have something special that I need to show people. And then other stores noticed and saw that things were happening.
That's amazing. And it is hard. Like I remember when we first launched, before we launched, like even getting into Sephora, I think it took us 2 years. And I remember getting into Harrods, we emailed the buying team from many different emails, I think for 2 years. They just like don't always respond. So if you're trying to get into anywhere, whether you're a fragrance brand, a fashion, whatever, keep trying. Be persistent. You're smart for going in dressed up nicely and asking. I don't know why we didn't think of that. We were just emailing people all over.
I actually
the place.
walked into Harrods and did the same thing. And I did that and I said, can I speak to the buyer? And they said, okay, we're going to connect you. And I left. And when I walked out, my phone rang and I came back in.
That is epic.
But, you know, the retail business is a whole different animal, like I said.
It really is.
You know, it's hard to get in, but it's even harder to be successful because it's very competitive.
And it's also changing nonstop.
It's changing nonstop.
Like, I feel like every year it's different, and you have to learn fast.
You got to learn
change
fast.
your plan fast.
Exactly. In the beginning, it was challenging as a man of color that has never been seen before in perfume. It was actually very challenging, but it was also something that was a benefit because it was a unique stance in perfume. Perfume is a very French white culture, and that's just what it is, and that's what it was. So I decided to be a little disruptive and launch my own brand, and it was tough, but I believed in it, and there were people that believed in me, and I think like what we're doing inspires other people.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, that's very important to me. I owe it to every little person of color who didn't think that it was a future in perfume to let them know either directly or indirectly that there is a path. That's very important to me.
It's so important, and I do feel like what you're saying, it's like if you look at all of the most successful brands, they're either part of like a big conglomerate that are basically white Frenchmen behind it, or it's a white Frenchman doing it. So it's like there aren't that many women, there aren't many people of color, and I think you're probably one of the only black men in fragrance. I don't really know of many others.
There's not that many men. That was, you know, a very proud moment for me.
Yeah.
And for you.
Sure. Absolutely. So inspiring.
So I live in Harlem, in New York City, and I felt it was very important. I sell my fragrances for everyone. There's no gender, sex, race that purely sell my perfumes to. So I make them for everyone. But with that being said, my first collection, it needed to be an ode to the neighborhood where I live, the culture, the history. So the Renaissance collection, which has Dan Sauvage, Renaissance, and Harlem Nights, was very important for me. People always ask, like, what's your favorite? I don't have one because I love them all, but I know the most important was that collection because I needed to tell a story of the Harlem Renaissance.
I love that.
So I think in our stories, in our packaging, it basically tells about our heritage.
Like for Kayali, I try to keep so many elements that are like representative of the Middle Eastern culture that I got reintroduced to when I moved to Dubai. Like, you know, I am Middle Eastern originally, but I was so disconnected before. And after moving to Dubai, I was like so inspired. And that's why like the name, it means my imagination in Arabic. And there's different elements of the Middle East in the bottle and even the fragrances themselves. Like I always try to keep a little touch of it. But I think it's so important important to
Yeah.
keep a connection to your roots because it's
Right.
a part of who you are.
It's a part of us, and
Yeah.
and it comes through
Absolutely.
in our brand, in our fragrances, in our style.
Absolutely.
I'm proud of you for doing that.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too. So what are some resources or ways you can share for people who, maybe struggling to find enough information or get started? Like, what do you recommend?
I think one of the things
Yeah.
is to like reach out to either myself or Mona and say, I'm really looking to launch a fragrance brand. Like, where do I start? Some people may not get an answer that they think is the right one because, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
I don't think anything is hard. I just think it's not that
A lot of
easy.
work.
Right.
It's a lot
And
of
it
work.
takes a lot of work. So you got to be prepared for that. It takes resource.
Absolutely.
It takes mentorship. It takes me being able to call Mona and say, Mona, I'm working with this retailer. What do you think? Do you think I should, we need each other, so we work together. We support other people in the perfume industry who are looking to create stuff. I mean, the internet has a ton of information on ways to just find
Google everything.
perfumers. Yeah,
Like,
Googling every single
everything.
thing. To find perfumers, to find like a fragrance class. Start somewhere, knock on every door. Some are gonna close, some will stay open. Be prepared for that. Again, the universe will support you if you keep at it. And if you quit, then that means that you weren't supposed to be in that place anyway.
So I haven't done this in a while, but I like to end my videos with a quote or a mantra. Since I have you as my guest of honor, what is your one mantra or quote that you live by that you feel really resonates with who you are?
So here's a mantra that I live by every single day. You must relentlessly participate in the manifestation of your own blessings.
Ooh, so deep. Love that.
At every moment of your life.
Yeah, I love that so much. All right, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. And let us know if you want us to do a part 3. Maybe I'll go to New York or New Jersey.
You're always welcome.